Hello and welcome to the worst decision you've made all year. Welcome to the Noscript Show 2019. Wotan, how are you doing?
Kidding yourself, my man. Worst
I am
decision?
good,
Come
yes.
on. Come on. Worst decision? I think a lot worse decisions were made on New Year's Eve.
So it's New Year's Eve, meaning last year. So no, it's a
Yeah.
statistical joke because we're only 5 days into the year and you'll make many worse decisions than this one. So we're glad
Yeah.
that you're watching.
Yeah. Like, honestly. Yeah, can I just quickly jump in on why I hate New Year's Eve so much?
Yeah,
Like,
may as well.
and I know we discussed this, but for me, like, I love a good party, but New Year's Eve is for party people what tell a funny joke is to comedians. It's like, it's New Year's Eve, party now. I'm like, it's so forced. Like, calm down. Like, I'm not a Hollywood actress on the casting couch. Just grind it back a little bit. The party will get here. Just chill
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah.
Not to mention all the overpriced fucking entrance to bars or pubs or whatever that would be free normally. Like, do these people have any idea? Like,
Yeah, no, like you don't even have to be communist to hate the very capitalist notion of having Christmas, which is like a huge party and it's like always a huge drama. And then New Year's, like, why would you do it again? Like, you've just, for a lot of people, right, that get together with family they don't see a lot, I think Christmas plus 2 days is like the limit that most people can handle their family. And so why would you want to do it again by New Year's? That makes no sense. I think all of us want to be antisocial after like the 28th.
yeah. Well, I did after the second of this year. It's just
Yeah, just over. So what did you do for New Year's? Did you actually do anything or just...
fortunately, I went with a small group of friends and we hit up the Summit Bar at the Protea Fire and Ice here in Pretoria.
Oh, yeah.
So there was actually no entrance. The food was reasonably priced. The drinks were reasonably priced as well, very reasonably priced actually, considering the environment.
Yeah.
And also, most importantly, for the most part, the clientele was reasonable in that it wasn't like 30 million girls that are definitely going to get you arrested if you touch them. And because those young girls weren't there either, there also weren't like the 55-year-old creeper dudes with like shaved hair and like tap out shirts and like ripped up shirts and that kind of thing. So it was like a nice mix of age and income group of people, and yeah.
No, it sounds like a very mature sort of party, right? Like you're one step away from like formal wear and people with trays, which actually sounds like a lot of fun, to be honest. I would rather do that than like a bar, for sure.
Yeah.
No? Cool, yeah. For me, I had seasonal flu throughout Christmas, so I spent New Year's sleeping. Like I got taken out.
I genuinely considered that, but then my friends sort of coerced me. Social pressure is a bitch.
Yeah, no, it is. Like I guess the one thing that was on my mind a lot the last couple of days has ironically been vaccinations, because I get the flu every year. I get the flu every year, and it's like every year I think, fuck, I should have gotten vaccinated for this, and then I won't have gotten it, and then every year I forget. So now I've diarized it. Mid-March, I'm going to go for the vaccine because I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
I actually seldom fall ill, but when I do, I get like sick as a dog. Sick like a dog.
Yeah, no, it sucks. Like I had everything. I had the muscle cramps, the fatigue, the headaches, the just general unable to put thoughts together, like the whole thing. I don't want to do it again. So like I'm getting vaccinated every year now for the flu. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't want to sound like an anti-vaxxer, but I don't always need the vaccine, so I'm just like, last couple of years I've been fine without it. Which is not an argument for anti-vaccination.
Yeah,
Holy fuck. Can we discuss that at some point? Because this anti-vaxxing is getting way out of hand.
Just before I do that, the one thing I do want to point out, because I literally didn't know this until I looked it up in the middle of dying from sickness. The flu virus changes every year. That's why you have to get it every year. And it's like, oh, now it makes sense. Because every year it's like a different strain it's like an amazing guessing game, because they have to predict what strain is most likely going to hit the most people in flu season and then vaccinate that like at least 6 weeks before, so you're fine. And it's like, there's actually a lot of engineering in that, so I'm going to start doing that. But, okay, vaccinations. I don't know, why don't you start us off? Because it sounds like you have something to say about this.
Before I do, and before the the
The trauma.
stress hits me. First, a word from our whiskey sponsor of the day. But first, let's hear from our sponsors.
Yes. All right. Who's our sponsor?
Knight's Whiskey, which is actually a South African blend Scotch
Really?
whiskey.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like we can't manufacture airplanes or cars, but we can make alcohol, so that is good. We have
Hey,
that
we're
going
getting
for us.
somewhere, bro.
Yeah, we are. And also, just after the vaccinations, I want to talk about fake sponsorships because I think that's a hilarious topic. But let's start with vaccinations.
So, my biggest gripe with the whole anti-vax movement, right? And my biggest gripe is a very non-obvious one, is that as soon as you start arguing against the anti-vaxxers, there is a certain subset of people on the internet who sort of style themselves as conservatives and libertarians, a certain subset of them who will fucking jump to defend anti-vaxxers so fanatically. Not because they themselves don't believe in vaccination. In fact, many of them are vaccinated.
Yeah.
But they will jump to defend the anti-vaxxers because my personal freedom. I'm like, okay,
no.
I'm really on the my personal freedom bus up until your personal freedom fucks me over. You know, it's
My god, I just and okay. So I should say this now at the start of the year because this is probably going to be a theme for me throughout the year. This is the year when I'm finally resolving that the internet has been a net negative for humanity, and if I seem very cynical about that, it's because of a whole bunch of things, starting with anti-vaxxers. But yes, now I've seen those people who completely miss the point in that. You don't worship principles, you enact them, right? You don't have to.
Exactly.
Like, dude, so like the principles are in service to the betterment of humanity, and you don't always have to die on the same hill for things that are objectively stupid, like the anti-vaxxer movement. So yeah, dude, I get you. That is incredibly frustrating.
It's yeah, like I said, it is a pointless, like you said, sticking to principle.
What I would, so this is the thing. I'm still developing this thought, but the internet is old enough now, right? So I got online when South Africa still had dial-up. That was like during the school years. That was the fastest you could get online.
They're gonna learn how old we actually are.
Yeah, actually, I'm 13. Don't contact me.
Oh well, now you're just gonna have like random TikTok creepers like looking you up.
Dude, what the fuck is TikTok? I feel like it came and now it's going.
We will discuss TikTok in a minute.
Okay, good. Because we're already getting distracted. But the point is, I joined the internet during the 1.0 era. So there was a thing that most people today won't know about, which was the Web 2.0 transition, which was when the internet mostly moved from publish, consume to collaborate. Meaning that the internet used to be, to publish was difficult. You actually had to know how to write HTML and put it online and understand networks. And then as it became easier and easier, we hit a transition point with social media where any dumbass, and I say that word with great care and precision, any dumbass can write whatever they want on the internet at the greatest of ease. And that's sort of flipped into social media, and that bore out the entire social advertising paradigm that kind of put Facebook on the map, right? That has directly corrupted our ability to reason. You know, there's like a lot of evidence that this is actually damaging our ability to function as a society. But if you grew up in it, it almost seems normal. And there's kids today whose earliest memories through to today have been on Twitter and Facebook. And so they don't functionally know what it's like to learn stuff outside the internet. And that's terrifying because the internet is a garbage fire. It's the worst possible place. So like,
hey, it's got some gems. It's got some gems.
Let's
not knock Reddit. Like,
and the thing I'm going to get to is the expertise, but through the voting systems. That's actually the point. But do you remember going into a library to read books?
Mm-hmm. I still read actual books.
Yeah.
It's not just books.
I remember Encyclopedia Britannica, the time when you had to pay a lot of money for.
That was the business, man.
Dude.
The business.
It was, but the main thing was, you got information from a real world that had passed through the filters of several people's expertise to get to you versus someone's uninformed opinion online. And that was the default mode until the internet. And now, for a lot of people in developed countries, the default mode is social. It's what's most popular in their crowd. So every time you see a dumb thing happening like the anti-vaxxer movement, I think it's because there are enough people who have never had to reason through or debate or dig into a topic. They just get told how they should feel about something, and then that's what they run with, because that's the default mode of operation now. And it's just like, it really, really terrifies me. But I'll get to the plus side in a sec. But that part scares me because it's almost like when scientists coined the term Anthropocene to define the human era. Like there's a distinct time. It's like what's all the scenes, right? The Jurassic,
there was a great Chris Kazard video on this actually.
That's I think I would have seen it in relation to that. But the short story is humans have fucked up the planet so spectacularly that you can clearly define the impact of human behavior on the environment, and they're pushing to call that the Anthropocene or Anthropocene, because it's like that much of an era. Now, within that, the internet was the biggest shift in human society, and I don't think it's been more positive. So on the Reddit stuff, the one thing the internet does do well is if people who understand the topic are able to filter out the garbage, which incidentally is why I think curated content is going to keep growing as a thing. But there is still the access to good information, assuming you can create the right conditions. And also in the absence of engagement-driven monetization, which is where we get back to these people that are jumping in to defend anti-vaxxers. As part of the shift in the way we process and learn information, there's also a shift in the way we process and express our identities. And I'm starting to worry that there are people who engage in performative displays as their default mode. Once again, saying deliberately outrageous things, not because they're trying to offend, but because that's how they think they should behave. And that kind of bothers me if I have another 10 years of that, because then there is no more basis for conversation. Because if everything is performative, then how do you ever get to the truth about anything? At that point, we have killed the Enlightenment officially. You can put a tombstone on it. So anyway, this is on the back of my mind constantly for the last 2 years, and it's going to get worse. So my TED Talk is done. Thanks for attending.
No, it's very insightful. I think that you bring up some seriously scary points there that no.
I would like to, so just 2 minutes, one more thing. And then I'm going to drop this topic and we go back to other stuff. But just communication is the foundational layer for civilization. Without being able to package and express and share an idea, it's impossible to communicate in a way that enables sophisticated argument and trade and logic and that sort of thing. So that's why I'm so interested in language and communication as a basic thing. And through communication, it does shape the world you live in. Brilliant thought experiment is, how do you know free will exists if you also have to acknowledge that your ability to decide is limited by the information you have? If you don't know something, you can't possibly choose to do anything. So how free will are you really? And that vortex will take you months to work through. But the thing
I
is,
don't have that kind of time.
the short answer is there is no free will. You just after a long time of looking at it, you eventually realize it doesn't exist. So the shortcut is there isn't any.
Stop ruining it for me. I'm trying to get to that answer on my own, man. Come on.
You will, don't worry.
Chill.
But anyway, it's just the reason this is such a difficult topic is that because the way we communicate has changed, and because we've put intermediaries like phones into the mix, and because we've sort of disintermediated.
You got a new phone?
No, this is still the phone I bought last year. The screen protector is cracking to shit. I don't know if you can see it on there. I don't like phones anymore. I use them because I have to.
I do enjoy my Note 9. This is not a sponsored video, YouTube algorithm.
Yeah. No, but anyway, it's just it is a thing to watch out for. Just the way we communicate has changed everything, and we haven't seen the full effects of it yet. It's incubated, and now it's slowly seeping into the real world, and it looks alien. It really does look alien. But anyway, that is the heavy segment of the show done. Sorry, you said anti-vaxxers, and then suddenly I'm here. So.
Yeah, you just got into that whole yeah, no, that's quite a bit to unpack there. But in terms of that, my comment on that would be, again, given my background and what I do for a living and my research aspirations and all that, I've certainly seen a concerning sort of revolt against expertise. And
Yep.
as I said to you earlier, there's the saying, experts built the Titanic and amateurs built the Ark. Whether or not you care or believe about the story of Noah's Ark is irrelevant in that context, because the point of the saying is that, yes, the experts can be wrong, but we shouldn't build our modeled behavior assumptions on that 1% of times when the experts are wrong, because the experts are experts for a reason.
Yep.
Most of the time they are very, very right. And it is concerning for me. I think people have conflated very, very healthy questioning and skepticism of research and theories with outright just saying, screw you, I'm right.
Yeah. Also, I would point out, experts built the Titanic, but I'm pretty sure hubris sunk it, because the Titanic was designed to withstand what happened to it. But I can't remember the exact thing. But there was one variable they didn't account for.
Yeah, there was some stupid thing they did, like they didn't it took. Like they messed up something with the water in one of the bulkheads, and that caused enough of a weight distortion thing that it could actually.
And it still is that designed for creating compartments and sealing them off to contain water. It would have worked if but for one thing. And the point is, you're right. People just say, "Oh, but amateurs built the Ark," and it's like, well, amateurs didn't design, the Ark wasn't designed to circumnavigate the globe and survive, really cold temperatures. It was designed to hold animals. Come on.
So, and I mean, again, it's back to what you said. It was for that tiny fact.
Yep.
I don't know what the exact factor is. I'm a computer scientist, not a mechanical engineer. I've never done a single fucking semester of fluid dynamics, and I would never want to. I'll stick to calculus, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and look, the denial of expertise it's a trend, right? And as part of that whole, because of the internet, right? Like, if there's one phrase I wish everybody knew and understood, it would be availability heuristic, which is that things seem more probable to be true the more information you have about it, which is why it's possible for people to convince themselves of literally anything. If you produce enough information about it, you can convince anyone of anything. And that's true in marketing, UFO conspiracies, the Brexit vote, you name it. That's the glitch in our brains which tells us to reject information for which we don't have enough examples that readily come to mind. If everyone knew that and applied that filter to what they saw, it would already make things better. But we don't think about that much stuff, do we? And it's like, just go with what makes you happy, right? The pursuit of happiness at all costs.
It's a human condition, right? Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So, speaking of outrage and Twitter, I guess we should discuss a few things,
Yeah,
Twitter outrages and stuff.
Please do, because I'm still, even though I'm back on Twitter, by the way, you know this, and it's like I'm trying to limit myself to it a little bit.
You're finally cool enough to follow me back. You've repaired the hole in our relationship. Latent hole that was growing in our relationship has been repaired. So
well, you were filling that hole with whiskey up until this point, so I don't think you were too beat up about it.
Well, for my own health, then.
But anyway, even though I'm back, my new policy is to only follow people that I know offline or off Twitter at the very least. So it's 11 people. No, it's 5 people and 4 news organizations. That's it. I don't want to, because Twitter makes me upset. I have this.
Well, that's the thing. My thing is, your Twitter experience can be exactly what you want it to be. A lot of people complain, oh, it's too negative, it's too this. If you wanted, for all you want, you could follow nothing but accounts like wholesome memes and bro jokes.
Yep.
There's a Twitter account I follow called Wholesome Memes that has funny little.
I love them, dude. They get boosted onto my feed every now and then, and it's just like, oh, it's nice that somebody isn't being a cynical bitch, and just it's nice.
Exactly. So not to say fuck you to people who don't enjoy Twitter these days, but honestly, the experience for a large part is determined by you.
It is, and
as your experiment taught you. So.
Yeah, and look, the thing is, I'm wired to be the worst kind of Twitter user because I'm really curious and I always dig down to try and understand things, and I enjoy consuming a lot of information. So what tends to happen is if I see something that looks a bit funny or weird, I'll start digging into it, and then I just get more and more upset as I go through someone's previous tweets, and then eventually I just get so mad that I rage quit. And so like that's actually the pattern that I have to break. If I just stick to what's on my feed, I'll be okay. I'll be fine.
Oh, I got mildly tangentially involved with the tweet by Roman Kavanagh where he made a joke about Tabard, and our good friends at Generation Identity. I actually have the tweet here.
I honest to God didn't want to give them any oxygen, but now you said it and we're doing this live, so I guess we now all know who they are.
But there's this tweet where Roman said the best deodorant to get. I can actually bring it up. The best deodorant to get. What is it? An Afrikaans girlfriend is Tabard. So. Like,
the thing is, I find that so funny, and I don't even know why.
Exactly, like it's tweets like the best deodorant, and then like Generation Identity South Africa loses their shit. It's like, oh, you race traitor.
And I'm just, you know what the thing was for me? So, okay, at this point, they had like 10 tweets total.
This was my reply to them. That's the ratio. And the ratio actually got worse. You can go look at that tweet again. The ratio got worse after that. Even some of their followers are like, if you scroll down, some of their followers are like, he was kidding, right?
Yeah. But so that at that point they only had like 10 tweets, so to go through their whole feed was very quick. And like I had to laugh because the second tweet was like, we do not have a racist agenda. And then like the Roman thing, it's like, oh, but he wouldn't say that about a black person. Like, dude, what the fuck? That's exactly what you said you wouldn't do.
It's just like, that's fantastic. You could not write better Twitter dumbassery.
Yeah, and then it's like they only had 10 tweets, and then they responded to me again. See, this is live. Things happen that they go wrong. They responded to me and said something to the effect of, "Oh, you're stalking all our tweets or something?" And it's like, well, I haven't found any good tweets, and also you've only been around for like 3 days. And they didn't respond to that. They had no response to that. So it's like, I'm trying to convince myself that it's okay to have a little bit of trolling in your Twitter tide, because these people ask for it. They're just asking for it.
It wouldn't be a YouTube show if there wasn't Twitter trolling.
I think you're right.
It's between them and the fucking sheep tweets on Twitter. It's been.
Yeah,
I actually do have a comment on that, actually. And obviously me with my cultural background and all that. I was having a chat with Conscious and his dad the other day, last night actually. And for me, the conclusion of that was, for me, from a cultural standpoint, something like slaughtering a sheep is it can be very ceremonial, and it can be very...
Are we in the Clifton thing right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, for those of you who don't know, or for the one international viewer we have, some people on a beach were chased off, and then in order to... What is it? Fight back racism.
Oh, yeah. So I actually do have the story. So short version is that there was an incident where 2 young people were raped on Clifton Beach. So they amped up security, and there was a private security company that would agree to help out the Metro Police in the area. And so the next day, they implemented what amounted to a curfew. When it got dark, they started asking people to leave the beach. They asked everyone to leave. White, black, you name it, everyone. But of course, there was an ANC councillor in the mix, and so of course it became an issue. And Twitter fucking loves it when people in Cape Town do something that even looks remotely racist. So next thing you know, it's like the whites chase us off the beach. It's like,
I love it because it makes Pretoria is no longer the racist place. It's all on you. We're sitting here. Joburg is the crime place. Pretoria is the racist place, and Pretoria is just flying under the radar. I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's good to be off the cult. It's good to be out of the cultural hot seat. For sure.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. It's so good.
So then it became a Twitter meme, and then it just kept escalating. And eventually, that guy Chumani, who was the dude who threw the poo on the road statue, he decided that he was going to drag a sheep to the beach and slaughter it and sacrifice it to drive out the.
Career.
He still has a career, surprisingly. But anyway, so he was like going to do the sacrifice to drive out the spirit of white racism from Clifton Beach. And the thing is, like you're probably about to get to, it's not only a stunt, but it's a stunt that undermines everything about the culture. So
bingo. Yeah, for me, and a lot of these kids who partook in this should know better. You know, if and obviously not all. I'm for the record, everyone. I'm Setswana myself, and not all Tswana people are the same as all Zulu people, Pedi people, whatever.
What?
But
Are you suggesting that people might be different? You heretic. Oh my God.
heresy. that, no, black
Praise the
cultures
sun.
are not a monolith. The more you look into it, the more you realize there's actually a great level of variation in the cultural values that each
Yep.
tribe in South Africa holds.
I would also, just because it's 2019, there are different white people as well. It'll astonish you to know that there were Brits, Irish, and Dutch, and they're fantastically different in terms of values. So just,
Oh, no,
but
definitely.
anyway, let's carry on.
So yeah, for me, like, I know that these kids should know, if they're raised properly, that what you're doing now is you're basically parading and undermining what is actually, in most cases, a very serious cultural ceremony, and something that can be deeply spiritual and deeply personal for the people doing it. And now it's being paraded and prostituted before the world stage for little more than media hype and getting that 2019 wave going. So to me, that might have been the greatest tragedy in this whole thing. Is that that something like that's what hurt me about this. Well, one of the things, but seeing it like that, you could see, for me, it was actually it's one of the reasons I stayed out of it. It was actually painful in that regard.
It was, and like there's two thoughts I have about this actually. So the first one is like there's not a lot of information about these traditional practices accessible to the Anglosphere, people that speak English now.
Unless you have a friend of chocolatey skin who you can just ask.
Which I will, but from what I know about it, it's part of a cleansing ceremony that ties into the whole communicating with the ancestors thing, and one of the important parts is that it has to be carried out in a specific place in a specific way. Near a river, I think, is the default. What is that actually?
It depends on the tribe and the situation. For us, it's not necessarily near a river. Remember, we originated from bots. There aren't a lot of rivers and Cortez there, but I think it might be one of the other groups that it's near a river. But it's usually you usually have a certain group of men that you slaughter with. You're slaughtering it. It's usually your group of men in your, what I would say, your generation of men in your family. So for me, it's me, my brother, and my two cousins. And yeah, it's carried out. It's carried out usually at dawn or in dusk, and it can be a cleansing ceremony, but it can also be a rite of passage, as I did, with various animals on our farm. A rite of passage marking different stages, growth and manhood. And it can also be, recently one of my uncles passed away, and he had a cow in our kraal that represented his spirit. So we slaughtered that cow, dual purpose, lots of meat, very fresh, very organic meat. We could have sold that to Woolworths for unholy amounts of money, because it's no antibiotics, all that, all natural. And but also the whole ceremony of bloodletting to mark his passage and passing on. So it can be cleansing, it can be passing on, it can be manhood. It's a bunch of things. It depends how and when.
But what it is not is a picnic on Clifton Beach to drive out racism and get Twitter views. Like, that's what it's not.
Yeah.
Like, no, and that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of, because I know more about the Native Americans and how they practice it. There's a very close symbiotic relationship between the animals they keep and their rituals, how it pertains to that. So it's like, it's obviously, I didn't even have to know anything about this to know that this guy was doing a publicity stunt. This was about proving a point. And the second thing that I want to get to is, I'm sure you're disappointed by the people that partook in that knowing better. I'm worried that if this gains traction, it's probably signaling that the traditionalists, or the people that, typically try to preserve the heritage of, these former tribes, they might be losing political power in the long term. Because if the youth can get away with what is ultimately sacrilege and get points for that, doesn't that then signal that a lot of this foundational stuff is breaking down? Now, from my point of view,
valid worry.
Yeah, so just quickly, from my point of view, it's like, we all know the history of how white people got to South Africa, and I can honestly tell you that I do not associate with my Irish heritage at all. So I have no basis for this, but I know that millions of people in South Africa do, and this is a very big part of their lives. So,
When are we drinking together? Oh, that was slightly offensive.
yeah, no, so it's that, because just again, in general, it's like, this is how things end, and like you said, you're worried about it. I mean, is that something that you actually see as well?
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. All right, so.
But that's that. That's the Twitter's trash for local. Let's get on to international Twitter trash.
So just by the way, we're probably going to do this at some point. We're going to do an episode formatted as an actual news show with all the introductory graphics and like the segments and shit. We'll find a sports story that isn't really sports, and then the politics, and this will be the politics. I do
have one tech subject for today, but it'll be like 5 minutes. But yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's go international. Our international desk. What do they have to report?
Well, Wogan, I have the world losing its freaking mind over everybody's favorite socialist bae dancing around in a video. So Alexandria Ocasio, AOC. I'm just gonna call her AOC.
Alexandria Ocasio Cortez. Yeah.
Yeah, I call her socialist babe because low-key she kind of fine, but yeah, I'm not a fan of champagne socialism. And I'm not the only person on Twitter who says that. I've seen so many people be like, only she didn't want ridiculous economic policies. I'd be so on that.
My favorite one was when she argued that the unemployment rate is low because people are working more than one job, and that's not how the fuck unemployment works. But anyway.
Okay.
Anyway,
I want you. Hold on. Let me just pull out where did she actually go to university?
Okay, so while he does that, from all I know about this is that she went to university, she danced, someone recorded her, the video came out.
This was in her like freshman year. This was
exactly.
in like her first year at university, and she's not fucking whipping her lady lumps out. She's not. She's not slaughtered. She's not like calling. She's not like causing an international incident like, oh, I don't know, fuck Italy and all their stupid pasta type shit.
I still just, whenever I think of Italy and pasta, I think of that, there's a meme of like an Italian looking guy in a French hat, and like the caption is Mamma Mia, and it's like he's loading spaghetti into like a gun clip or something. That always comes to mind. All right, so
let's see. What is the alma mater?
You see, now he does the research, right? When we're supposed to be prepared. This is very unprofessional. I'll have you know.
Oh yeah, because I'm the fucking model of professionalism.
Just in case anyone has any illusion
Boston
that we plan
University,
any of this.
Yeah. Boston University.
Boston, all right.
No. For the record, I've never applied to Boston University, but I'm sure it's a great university. And let's not discuss how my applications are going for my own sake.
I would not have asked you anyway because it sounds like it might be intensely private. But yes, just carry on.
Yeah, it is. So she went to Boston University, which is, by all intents and purposes, a good university. So for her to come out with the economic policy she's proposing, right? Like, I can genuinely, like, I'm sort of more fiscally conservative, but I can genuinely see the point of certain more left-leaning things. For example, you know, there's certain things you just have to pay in en masse to make work. Like the police is basically a giant socialist program because it's socialist security, basically, because you're paying for a socialist security company run by the state.
Pretty much, yeah. The only ones like legally authorized to a large degree to carry out violence. There's the monopoly on state violence is a big concept in ANCAP land, but carrying on, yep.
Yeah. So she's there, she's dancing. I don't know if we have the video, but she's dancing and she's done nothing wrong. And people are losing. Actually, they made a Twitter account about it. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez dances to everything. And you can actually go to this Twitter account now and you can find her dancing to any one of your favorite songs.
I want to see this. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. There's
Oh, is that the dance?
Yeah, this is the dance. So the point of this dance is that it's an homage to the Breakfast Club, the Breakfast Club's dance that they did. It's like an old teen movie. I know it because
Yeah.
I'm old, but she's she's
That's
dancing.
that's
Like
that's like that's like peak 70s family home TV. That's nothing.
there she is. She's doing absolutely fucking nothing wrong. She's not wasted. This is her like, she's like 20 in this picture, in this video. Sorry, maybe like 18, 20 years old. That is the thing.
Yeah, I
And
know.
people are losing their minds. Well, people on the right in general are losing their fucking minds. They're like, oh, this is terrible, terrible. And credit where credit is due. A lot of like the really more prominent Republican sort of conservative American thought leaders and figureheads, they haven't made a big deal about it. Actually, I stand to be corrected. Anyone who, yeah.
So
But
I would.
Hmm?
I would just like to point out at this stage that we've had a similar thing happen before, and you can look this up if you don't believe me. Pharrell Williams' Happy. When that song trended, there was a trend of people recording themselves dancing to it and posting it online. That went viral, including people in the Middle East who then got arrested by a very repressive regime because dancing on video in public was unacceptable. Now, any fucking person in the Western Hemisphere who has a problem with this video is essentially applying the same logic as an actual repressive regime. So just bear that in mind before you open your dumb mouth. There is nothing wrong with dancing on video.
Yeah.
So
exactly. And look, again, I'll give credit where credit is due. I'm sort of blaming conservatives for this one, but a lot of the, shall we say, conservative thought leaders, their political pundits, their actual conservative politicians, most of them have shrugged it off as a joke. It's a lot of the really hardcore MAGA rando Twitter accounts that are making a big deal about it.
And
so it's not the conservative thought leaders, it's their followers that are making like.
So
and I'm like, why, guys? I even tweeted about it. I'm like, this is the wrong hill to die on.
It is. And it's like also like, again, sort of like, either you live a life completely devoid of any sort of joy, in which case you really need to rethink your position on a lot of things, or, and this is the other part of the internet is breaking down, they were starting in around 2007 is when Russia started actively using the internet and communication media to support their actual military campaigns. And that's just escalated every year since. So I would start questioning these kind of trends and blow-ups. Aren't they maybe engineered? Because it's a lot easier than you think to engineer something, to have fake accounts. And the thing is, there's proof of this. During the election, they found Twitter and Facebook accounts that look honestly American and that are just there to disrupt things. Russia got as far as organizing, like they managed to organize an in-person, actual physical protest march somewhere in the US entirely from a pair of troll Facebook accounts. So these things do have an impact. And I would question, like, is this an authentic outrage, or is this just thousands of Twitter bots that have been programmed to say all these things and drive up the controversy? Because their only goal is to cause division. They don't pick a side, they just cause chaos.
I mean, I would say it's 50-50. Some of the accounts that I've seen outraged about it are actual people that I know on Twitter. Like I've sort of FaceTimed with them, so I know that they're a real person and shit like that. So, but it's plausible that they themselves may have been influenced by bots. But yeah, and also to be fair to a lot of conservatives out there, since apparently that's my side. There's a lot of people out there who are also tweeting like, guys, this is a dumb thing to get riled up about. Also, more importantly, I'm old enough to remember for the past 15 years when the left did the exact same thing to the right, when the left castigated people on the right for simple, fun-loving things. I know it's a bit of a hot button issue, but castigating Kavanaugh for liking beer, like really, come on, dude. I'm sorry, Elizabeth Warren was fucking getting herself licked up in her last video as well. So like, come on, guys. It's so cringe when geriatric politicians try to be cool and drink beer and all that shit. Like, stop that. Come on.
Yeah, but it's like the old models don't work anymore. It used to be you had to be relatable. Now you have to be outrageous. Otherwise, you don't get traction. It's just, but also like just again, like I saw there was some lunatic, and I choose that word carefully and deliberately because I'm convinced this person was losing their grip on objective reality. wove together a thread about how right-wing ultra-nationalists are recruiting people through social media and memes. And one of the memes that they used as proof was a poster that read, "It's okay to be white." And they're like, that's the gateway to like all this hardcore racism. And I know as a joke, like the writer kind of made fun of this. And like there's a picture floating around, like a typical American family having a barbecue captioned with right-wing extremism. But that's the way the environment is shifting. And the more these people get outraged and respond to these things, the more the trolls just laugh at you and they make fun of you and then push it even further. So it's actually better to just pull back, consider like from a human point of view if this matters at all, and then realizing in this case it fucking doesn't matter if she danced.
It absolutely does fucking not matter. It's like the dumbest thing.
And just now that I've seen the video, it was well shot for what was probably like an amateur college thing. So good job.
Just socialism, babe. Right? If only she could get off that socialism, I'd also be up on that.
Dude, I wouldn't want to be a capitalist right now. Apple has lost Facebook's worth of value in the last couple of days. 250 billion, I think it was.
Oh, we're on to actual tech now. Okay, yeah. Apple's worth.
I think they were the first one at $1 trillion, and now it's probably close to like 800 billion. They took a massive knock.
I've always hated Tim Cook, so I'm actually satisfied by that news.
And the funny,
and I don't even know why. Like, I cannot justify that, so don't ask me to reasonably. I've just always hated him.
And the thing is, like you can't even make the basic, like he's gay for losing money thing, because he is actually gay. So it's like, whatever happened? No, like the short version is that Apple has kind of, just like Facebook, they've kind of saturated the market. They've gotten to a point where people aren't buying expensive new phones. And I think there's a worry that they might have dried up on the high end of the market because you can't release a new phone every year. People have stopped upgrading. It's just at some point, it's like, it's not worth the money. And they've only made their money their growth by increasing prices over time. And I think that strategy is backfired now. So they're going to have to readjust and they'll be fine. But it's just like the last couple of days have been pretty hectic.
It was a big shock, yeah.
Yeah, no, if I had Apple stock, I would have sold before the earnings call, because the vibe in the market like the last 2 years has been these prices are getting a little bit ridiculous. Although they did blame China, like everyone blames China now whenever there's bad growth numbers. Because they just,
China's like the international scapegoat. And I'm not saying the Chinese are totally innocent, but come on, guys. Like, let's cut them some slack. Like,
yeah, no, it's so China is actually, it's difficult as a South African to comprehend the scale of China's capability to manufacture. So like I was having a conversation, we were talking about vending machines and what interesting things you might be able to do with them. So I go into Alibaba and I find a factory that can manufacture like, full-size vending machines with the touchpads and everything inside them. And they have a capacity to manufacture 10,000 a month, which is 330 a day. And this one little vendor is a 60,000 square meter factory in which they pack thousands of people that manufacture these things. And it's one of the smaller vendors on Alibaba, which is insane. And it's like that scale, I've been to South African factories. I cannot contextualize that scale, the way China can operate. So there is that. I don't know if you've ever seen Chinese factories. They're insane.
I haven't. I'm just trying to visualize that, like mathematically. I'm like, geez. So for the record, guys, anyone who ever watches this, I've never claimed to be an expert biologist or anything like that. I am a computer scientist / mathematician.
Just narrowly define your domain so you can't get hit with, Good move.
No, but I found and maybe this loops back to the expertise things. I find the more you specialize in a field, the less you're bound to talk on any old rando fucking subject, because you realize now. Yeah. Fuck, if I knew this little about my field, fuck knows what little I knew about other fields.
Yep. There's what's it? I need to learn the Latin phrase. I keep forgetting it. But the English version is "beware the man of one book." Have you ever heard that phrase?
I have not, but that's a chilling phrase, actually.
It comes from Thomas Aquinas in the 1200s, whatever that era was. And initially, "beware the man of one book" meant when you're debating somebody that has deep and thorough domain expertise, in that they know one book and they know it really well, they'll be able to run circles around you. That's what it used to mean. it changed over time to mean somebody who's only read one book, who has such a shallow grasp of the topic, but they formed an opinion anyway. And those people tend to be more dangerous, like with the whole expertise thing. But there is, and you know this and I know this, the more you get into a field, the more you realize there's more to know.
Oh, yeah.
And the rate of information
My
growth,
field.
yeah, the rate of information growth exceeds everyone's ability to comprehend it. Because especially with your field, it's a developing field, but even like medicine, engineering, law, everything is constantly developing. So you never actually have an expert that can properly, thoroughly tell you exactly what you need, which I think is part of the problem why it's like, you know, doctors get it wrong sometimes, so we shouldn't trust doctors. And that kind of logic comes into it when the doctor knows far more than you ever would, and they'd be able to give you far better information.
Fine. You build this machine learning algorithm. You build it. I'm an expert. I got it wrong, so clearly you know better. Like, no, dude. Like,
yeah, no, it's
but that being said, China are now the experts on landing shit on the moon.
They are, yes. Props for being the first country to land a probe on the dark side of the moon.
We actually talked tech on the first episode of
We fucking did. Congrats. And my disappointment was they landed that thing on the moon on the same day as Apple's stock price fell. So that was the only news that was covered in the US. But actually, China managed to put a rover on the dark side of the moon, which is impressive because the dark side of the moon is perpetually out of communications range with Earth. That's the first problem on top of all the others. So good job.
Yeah. For those of you who don't understand, the dark side of the moon is not some mysterious, well, it is mysterious, but it's not like the nega moon or like the evil side of the moon. It's just that our moon, because of the way our rotation works, by the time it is the rotation of the Earth and the rotation of the moon, by the time we get to nighttime, the moon's rotation has rotated in such a way that we always see the same face of the moon every single time. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so that's why in all those old space movies, like the Apollo movies or whatever, it was always a big deal when they went on the dark side of the moon because they lost contact with Earth. And that's why the moon has always looked the same. And if the moon could spin, you would see it spinning in the night sky. You would see it changing, but it doesn't.
Yeah, in fact, the moon's rotation is so fast that you could actually see it moving like a disco ball type thing.
Yeah. But then this is celestial mechanics.
Fast,
and you're not an expert in celestial mechanics, so you're not allowed to comment.
Damn it! I know mathematics, okay? I know my math. Not as well as like a mechanical engineer, but still pretty good. Like there's like mathematicians, theoretical physicists, mechanical engineers, computer scientists, chemical engineers, and now I've just pissed off all the other engineers because they're like,
it's fine because then at the bottom of that there's the same loop again, but on the internet, and all they do is post comments. Those are like universally below the others. Oh man.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, like serious technical achievement, and the thing is, there's actually a commercial reason for it. The theory is that the moon is saturated with helium-3, which is a critical component in, I think, fusion power.
Yes. If we can get that helium-3, it's gonna be fucking amazing. Like that's the first step to getting actual.
It's something to do. Yeah, it's something to do with helium can be used to control the fusion reaction or something, like uniquely. But it's this one isotope that you need to find.
Okay,
something like that? I'm not sure.
I'm not even gonna guess the actual reaction there.
I'm gonna look it up. Right now.
One of my best mates from high school up until now, it's funny, him and I actually started off on opposite ends. I wanted to be a nuclear physicist and he wanted to be a computer scientist, and we kind of switched up in varsity. But yeah, he could tell you the actual reaction. He actually worked at the LHC, and you want to talk about advanced math? The math that he does just like puts my math to like shame. It's like,
Okay. All right. So I brought this up on Wikipedia, and there's like already a complicated chemical formula which I'm not going to look into. But the short answer is the extra. That isotope decays a lot easier, and they're able to harness the energy out of that. Something to that effect, reading this dense technical text. But the interesting part is that it's so far the only good supply that might exist is on the moon. So there's a good reason to mine for that to supply Earth, which would actually be pretty badass if we pull that off.
Yeah. Shit tons of really awesome energy.
Which so just to kind of deviate into the cultural part of this for just a second, there's actually a 2009 movie called Moon, which I would recommend, that talks about this exact topic. There's like a guy on the moon whose job is to harvest the helium, and it's actually a great movie. 2009, featuring Sam Rockwell and Kevin Spacey. Definitely a good movie. Cool.
Alright.
So that is the entirety of the cultural recommendations I'm making today. I've also just in the last 2 days I finished watching through all 5 seasons of Fringe again, and it's great watching these like mid 2000 shows because it was a simpler time. It's like a simpler time that we all lived through.
No, I've gotten back into my anime, so yeah.
Yeah, just utterly regressed back into the comfort zone.
Yeah, I have Attack on Titan, Goblin Slayer, which you should never watch in front of children, ever. It's gritty and it's very realistic, but there's a lot of stuff that happens in that show that, oh wow, yeah. Even I'm like, nah, that's
Yeah.
This is coming from a kid who grew up on like Mortal Kombat, Ultimate, and all that shit. Like, even I'm like, ooh, maybe kids shouldn't see this.
Yeah, no, look, if you watched American cartoons, I'm convinced, like 60% convinced, that American cartoons were basically designed to sell sugary cereal to children. Like, that's that's like the only reason for producing them. And it's like in Japan, the only reason they started producing these en masse was to sell toys. Like some of my favorites come from where they tried to sell toys, and so they built a cartoon universe around that, and that's actually more interesting at the end of the day. But Japan does not give a fuck about what the West thinks about morality when it comes to their anime. So yes, no, beware.
No, they do not. Which is funny because Goblin Slayer is very much based on like high European medieval fantasy creatures. Like the design of the houses, the dragons, the goblins. Dude,
what I love, Helsing OVA is the best example of this. It's when Japan takes like an imitation Europe approach to the world they design, but it's always like a hyper-realistic version of Europe that doesn't take itself too seriously, and that's almost better than actual European culture. So yeah, I tend to like that quite a lot. Also, we should forgive the slurping directly into the microphone there. That's just...
that's just a whiskey Wotan
That's a weird-ass sound. I would not put that anywhere near your brand, dude. Come on.
That was weird. Sorry, guys. Whiskey Wotan's better than that.
Yeah, next time you use a straw, won't you? Just...
In 2018? Do you not care about...
That was last year, you dumbass.
Oh, yeah, it is 2019. Jeez. Damn it! I should just say in current year.
Yeah, just like in this year. So just we'll go back and edit it every year. Dude, I still do that. I still have 2018 in my muscle memory on my keypad for typing out the year. I'm gonna have a hard time adjusting as well. Don't worry, it's not just you.
Yeah.
All right, so.
It's been a slow week for memes as well, except for Soldier Boy, by the way. That's the...
And we need to get into the Soldier Boy thing because I love American rappers, dude. I really do.
This is so great. This is like a gift from on high in terms of memes and like...
All right, so weave us a story, Wotan. Tell us, what is the Soldier Boy story?
Soldier Boy is what you would call a ringtone rapper because honestly, I'm sure a lot of those of you who are watching probably learned of Cranked That Soldier Boy and Kiss Me Through the Phone, two of his greatest hits. And Soldier Boy he was an okay guy. He's okay rapper, whatever. He decided to bring out the Soldier Game console and he started a gaming career basically with his game console and everything.
But from what I know, it wasn't an actual console. It was just like an emulator or something to play Nintendo games, something like that.
Pretty much, yeah. So he basically tried to. I don't know if he tried to, but because I don't know his knowledge of copyright, but he stepped on Nintendo's toes in the worst legal way possible.
Oh my god! Yeah.
And Nintendo decided, you know what? We're gonna let this slide. They were actually quite gracious at first. Like they.
So just bringing up on the screen quickly, these are the consoles he sold. He ripped off everything Nintendo, including the games. Yeah, good job.
Yeah, and he did. And my personal but he would have been fine up until the point that Soldier Boy, in his infinite soldier wisdom, decided.
Soldier wisdom. Dude, I saw rappers trying to get in on the ICO thing with Bitcoin. And it's like, these guys are not smart. You don't trust celebrities for your financial advice. But anyway, yes, Soldier.
It's I mean, I'll actually bring up the actual tweet. Let's see. This tweet is gold. This tweet is pure gold. It's Soldier Boy, in his infinite soldier wisdom, decided to, tell us exactly what Nintendo was going to do. According to Soldier Boy, Nintendo ain't gonna do shit. Well, Nintendo did not take kindly to this, and somebody made this beautiful meme. Alright, nigga, the time has come.
Oh my god, that is 10,
This is
10 stars. 10 fucking stars. That is genius.
This is like, there's no way you could write a meme that well. I don't know.
Beautiful.
It was so good. It's so.
You know what I'm looking forward to now is like the rip-off of these games where you play like an attorney or a lawyer to get your client on and off cases. I can't wait for the Soldier Boy version. It's gonna be lit.
Oh wow, it's amazing. It's genuinely amazing, and
yeah, that is quite something.
that was. Long story short, yeah, Soldier Boy's losing in court, and I don't know if you've seen. I don't know if you've seen any of his latest records, because there aren't none. But he doesn't exactly have a massive cash flow incoming. Like,
I feel sorry for him on a number of fronts. One of them being somebody must have the fact that nobody told him to not antagonize Nintendo. That's a bit weird, but shame. That is just
what?
sad news.
I would think after MC Hammer, rappers would start surrounding themselves with good legal and financial advice. But no, with the exception of Jay-Z and Puff Daddy,
yeah,
every other rapper is just like, yeah, fuck it. Sorry, Jay-Z, Puff Daddy, and I guess Eminem. Every other rapper's like, man, fuck it. Let's go all out.
It's like pretty much everyone else is taking advice from the Wesley Snipes School of Tax Returns.
You will not insult Blade, good sir.
No.
Passenger 57.
Blade, the character was good. Wesley Snipes, the actor, not so much. Man. So anyway, just my one bit of advice for the year: don't take any kind of advice from celebrities. They didn't get to where they were because they were smart. In most cases, that is true. Most cases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a solid piece of advice. Soldier Boy, Nintendo ain't gonna do shit. And I love that they had like little Nintendo
lawyers at the bottom.
Yeah. And that's the actual Smash Brothers font. So it's like they built those Miis in Smash Brothers to take that screenshot. Like, wow.
Yeah, and that's, I got to say, the one thing I do like about Nintendo is that they have stayed honest to God, true to their roots forever, like in terms of the way they build games. Like, they haven't gone off into like hyper-realism or anything else. It's just like honest games that you buy and play. It's pretty cool.
I think the closest thing to hyper-realism is Breath of the Wild right now. And that's not even hyper-realism. It's just a really fucking beautiful... I don't know, world that they've built.
Yep. All right, so there's one more thing I want to share, which I am personally pretty excited about. A headline which actually dropped just yesterday. Eric Walpole, the Half-Life and Portal writer, has returned to Valve. So, we might see another Half-Life game.
No, don't believe their fucking lies. No, fuck you. I don't believe their fucking lies. No. I'm not getting pulled in by. I'm not fucking getting Star Citizen on this shit.
That be like, obviously he's just returned. We don't know what it means. It's all speculation.
I am
But
not getting Star Citizen on this bullshit.
the only way I did, in complete transparency, I did get Star Citizen. I remember I pledged before they hit their first million, like off their original Kickstarter campaign. And I've been perpetually disappointed ever since. So I've been Star Citizen, but thankfully not for a lot of money. They only took me for $60. I can live with that. It's all the other people I can't fathom. But anyway, that's dude. I think that's been an hour. I think we need to get back to our incredibly
lives,
interesting.
Guys. Surprisingly, we do actually have lives. Like we do shit other than talk shit and drink whiskey.
So all right. So this year we're shooting for 52 episodes. On which we're absolutely going to try and do a couple of, I'm thinking, live hangout style conversations.
Yes. All the guests.
Yes.
Except fucking Waluigi. Because if he's not good enough for Smash, he's not good enough for our show. Literally everyone else.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, what I'm thinking we're going to do is like episodes like this are quite fun to do, but then we're also going to do like old school hangouts with people and just talk shit like we do all the time anyway. But our 2019 resolution is to hit at least 52 episodes, one per week. And yeah, we're still not going to script this. I think that's definitely what we're sticking to, is not scripting this stuff.
We'll probably get closer to matching that goal than any politicians promised this year in the
shit.
Oh!
Dude, no, why did you... Oh my god, okay, can I drop one more thing in before we go? Like the first misstep of the year was Derek Hanekom tweeting out about a DA, like somewhere in the city of Johannesburg, there was like a trash heap.
And
it's like,
tweeting him and Mashaba.
Yeah, it's like, Mashaba, this is so disappointing. Dude, people have been coming back with ANC run tweets. Like, it is just slowly escalating. I think he properly fucked up in an election season by picking the wrong fight.
That's how you know you fucked up, boy.
I would like to preemptively congratulate Derek Hanekom on his retirement from politics, because he just put his foot in it in the most critical year for the ANC since '94. Good job.
Congratulations.
Good job.
You played yourself, fam.
All right, and I think with that we are out. If you want more banter, join our Discord server. We will be more active on there, and we are active on there. So join us.
Or you can, or if you have questions or suggestions, DM the show's account, or you can tweet random abuse at me. It's okay.
I think we're two of the very few people on Twitter that know to take it not seriously. So
you can tweet random abuse at us. So I'll probably like just pour another drink and like play fucking Octopath Traveler or something. So yeah, it's okay.
All right, so here's to a kick-ass 19. Keep well.
Thank you. It's good to be back.